I'm Ken Schmier, and I just recently got tax bills for 4 years of taxes I didn't even know existed. Uh, and I have to say that, and I'll leave that issue, that I think it imposes a tremendous burden on people to all of a sudden notice them to a tax bill for 4 years, and I intend to talk to the city attorney about it, because my impression is that latches sets in and blocks a claim for them, because we base our budgets upon what we know about. I want to talk about the concept of equilibrium. There is such a thing in ships as a hull speed, and there is in a community too. You can pass new taxes and raise revenue immediately, but in the long run, if the basic economic forces don't exist, you will drop total revenues. I think Mr. Tibbetts knows that if he raised the fees for playing too high at the club, it won't increase revenues. It'll ultimately decrease revenues. The situation is the same here. If you raise the taxes for commercial rentals, for instance, and tripling them, there isn't that much margin in the operation of commercial properties, so the value of the properties drops, and the taxes, particularly the taxes to the redevelopment agency, could well drop by a factor greater than the tax revenues that you'll raise. Now, I realize they go to separate budgets. There's a second issue that particularly concerns me, recognizing that we have to provide the services of a city. We all have to pay our fair share of that. But when I see the proposal to tax the Oaks Club with such a tremendous special tax to one business without any regard whatsoever of the amount of services that this business consumes, it concerns me greatly, because I'm particularly concerned with the concept of justice. Not just in how it affects Mr. Tibbetts, although that's enough of a reason, but because the reputation of the way, people's reputation in the way they do business is so incredibly important in the long run. And if the community takes an action like this, it points out to any large business that would make a commitment to come to our community that if they do so, they take the risk that once they're planted here, that our community will take advantage of them. I think that's a terrible message to send out. A community that acts without regard for justice dooms itself in the long run. I'm sure of that. Finally, it seems to me that while we're all happy to pay our fair share for services that we use or that others use, it's always been my sense that Emeryville provides a number of services that are counterproductive to the needs of the community. I recognize that we have a wonderful staff working at our city, and I'm sure that we can find jobs for whatever people have to be cut loose in our private community. But I have been involved with the planning process now for 7 years, and I watch how our convoluted set of regulations that I don't believe create any particular good in our community, that only stop and slow down the process of development. We layer on regulations, and then those regulations require staff to enforce them and interpret them and to deal with them, and attorneys' time to defend them and again to interpret them, and city managers' time, and the whole process creates a tremendous load on the community. And I think we'd be much better off if we decided that Emeryville is a community that believes in freedom. The freedom to use land, the freedom to open businesses, the freedom to do everything. And we simply cut out our planning process. We could cut off a large measure of the other staff members. We could shrink our budget, I'll bet, in half, and we'd have a better community for it. Thank you very much.